People whose first relationship was very long-term. What weird thing did you believe was normal until you started seeing other people? This is a little strange, I guess. Sort of an individual thing. But with my first 2 relationships, 5 years total between the two, I never realized how cuddly I am. I used to hate being touched or kissed, and I never realized that wasn't just the way I was. I even thought I might be asexual, but deep down I knew that wasn't the case. My fiancé used to be the same way, but when we met, somehow things just clicked into place. That every time was essentially a quickie. Almost a whole decade of nothing but 5 thrusts and then blast off. After that relationship ended, I felt like Jasmine on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world. She made me believe the old TV tropes of women never wanting sex. I had to work my ass off to get her to give me some action. The next girl I had was just amazed that I didn't just ask for it when I wanted it. The bewildered look on her face when she finally asked, "You realize I'm horny too, right?" Not every guy wants to throw on Motown and slow dance with you. Some of them don't even care to touch you. I miss the slow dancers. Your partner should actually make an effort to spend time with you. You shouldn't have to surprise them to spend any time with them. Being cowed into an open arrangement equals normal. Him introducing me to friends while hanging out or going to parties, and then him telling me later in the evening after the ice had broken that they were actually the girls he was capitulating to his insistence that we continue to hang out even though I was uncomfortable with knowing this new information, equals normal. Him making unwelcome and uncomfortable comments to other women I was friends with in front of me to attempt to orchestrate threesomes that I was not okay with, equals normal. If you love me, you'll chase after me, equals normal. If you love me, you'll leave FaceTime up at all times so I can see what's going on in your dorm, equals normal. If you love me, you will not show any sad or mad emotion because it ruins my mood, equals normal. My ex basically taught me that it wasn't okay for me to be upset about things. Every time I would get my feelings hurt even when I was upset about something completely unrelated to him, it was somehow flipped around, so I ended up reassuring and comforting him. That shit really messed me up, and I basically had to relearn how to be vulnerable with my sir. He also had a very solid plan of how he expected me to live my life. Basically his main goal for me was to have kids and be a good housewife. Yikes. On the bright side, nowadays I'm happily engaged and my fiancé treats me with so much love and respect. He's supportive of my dreams and we are able to lean on each other in times of hardship. Psychological abuse. I have a physical reaction now when my current partners are nice to me. When I do something he would have berated me for hours and locked me in my room for, like, I get a panic attack because my partners are nice to me when I drop a glass, or got laid off, or forgot to unload the dishwasher, and then they don't bring it up every time they're irritated with me. My ex was still yelling at me 14 years later for shit I did when we first started dating. Shit like I forgot to pick up his laundry from the floor or bought the wrong brand of bacon. At the end there, the lectures lasted hours as he recounted 14 years of offenses. My current partners, they don't throw shit in my face that I did the day before. The dissonance is crazy. I knew the other abuse wasn't normal, but my stepdad is the same way with my mom, so I had no idea. I just thought it's how men are. Her father hating me. I just thought this was normal, but in the subsequent 3 relationships, last one turning into a marriage and family, the parents were kind and I couldn't believe that is possible. I thought most guys liked having their nipples played with because my first ex did. My second boyfriend was so confused when I started licking his titty LMAO. Not me, but the girl I'm currently dating said that her first long-term boyfriend would stare at himself in the bathroom for an hour or so before going to bed each night. Was your girlfriend dating Patrick Bateman? My first boyfriend would always leave me small presents or notes underneath my pillow if I had to get up earlier than he did. He was quite romantic and told me I love you quite a lot. When I got a new boyfriend, I caught myself looking underneath my pillow for at least a month, 2 months in, just out of habit. That you should be happy together now, and not constantly waiting for some vaguely defined future where everything's settled down. People's love languages are all different. It's especially jarring when you have a lot of experience doing things a certain way, and then finding out that isn't what somebody else needs. It can take some work to figure out what's inherent to yourself and what was learned from your partner. I texted my then new girlfriend about where I was and who I was with about every 30 minutes. After the third time, she told me that she didn't need to get updates on what I was doing, and to just let her know when I got home safe. I remember feeling almost a physical weight being lifted off my chest because I didn't have to worry about my girlfriend freaking out if I didn't update her. I learned what trust felt like that night. That some girls, in a relationship, don't like to kiss as often as others. I'm just talking about pecks when girlfriend gets home, etc. I always enjoyed a hello kiss, but I guess some girls don't. Herpes free since '73. With a username like that, I would have also been a little hesitant to get a peck. My ex put her happiness on me, making it my responsibility. Would demand I stay around and cut my work hours back, and then be upset when we wouldn't have money to go out. Every time I would try and leave, I was coerced with sex to stay. Because I was young and stupid. After 8 years I had enough. I moved 5 states away. It wasn't super long term, only about a year, but when you're in high school that's fairly long term. My ex was a very clingy dude, sweet, but would follow me around every social gathering and get jealous of me spending time with my friends. When I started dating the guy who is now my husband, I remember looking around at a party early on of mostly my friends that he hadn't met before, and I couldn't find him. I asked someone where he was, and he was out by the fire with a group of people chatting and hanging out. I was astonished that we could just go our separate ways in a social setting, and that was totally fine. We didn't have to be attached at the hip the whole time. When I say he would follow me around, I literally mean he never left my side. And these were parties and things where he knew everyone as well. At one point my friend was upset, so I went into a bedroom with her and another friend to talk to her, and within 5 minutes he came into the room, and even though this was obviously private, he just stood in there. And I did tell him multiple times that we didn't constantly have to be beside each other. If you and your partner like to hang out at parties, that's fine, but it was suffocating to me. He was jealous of my friends and complained when I would make plans with them. Honestly, we were young and he's probably a totally fine dude now. We were just not right together. Daily binge drinking until I realized A, I'm an alcoholic, and B, hetero relationships don't work when one partner tries to drink the gay away. Only took me 9 years, but I got there eventually. A lot of girls like to I left a girlfriend of 3 years. A girl I thought I was going to marry. Over this. She just had an almost zero sex drive. Even from the beginning. She thought 3 to 4 times a year was plenty. In the end, I decided life was too short to have sex once every 4 months, and dealt with over a year of heartbreak, instead of a lifetime of craving sex I wouldn't get. Before I left, I remember trying to soothe myself with, hey, once you are like 70, it won't even matter. Porn is not a documentary. Being used as a sex doll, contorted into uncomfortable positions, and pounded until you bleed, can't stand up, or just break down crying from the pain isn't normal. Nor is anal sex a necessity. We were both virgins and he had major porn brain. I thought I was bad at sex and would never be able to have a positive experience with intimacy until I finally left him and was with my second boyfriend. I'm okay now, but wow, was that a horrible person to lose my virginity to. That sex should last more than 45 seconds. I dated a guy for a year and never orgasmed once. He gaslit me into believing that the slight good feeling I felt like 2 to 3 stages before coming was what an orgasm was. I never understood why some girls were so into sex, because it was so unsatisfying for me. The next guy the first slept with showed me what orgasming actually feels like. Yes, gaslit was the right term to use, because he literally yelled at me when I finally admitted I didn't think I had ever had an orgasm. He told me that I definitely had and made me think that I was crazy. He even told me while we were when I was orgasming, because he said guys could feel it and tell. He also told me I was a squirted despite any squirting to prove this. He literally left me so confused until I hooked up with a close guy friend and he made me realize it wasn't me. This is morbid, but I thought it was normal to argue every day. I thought, all couples have their bickering, and it was just a regular thing. I was astounded when I went into my next relationship and actually got on with the guy and went weeks and weeks without having any issues. It always felt like the bubble was going to burst. Goes to show, don't stay in a relationship just because you've already invested a ton of time. You get one life. Spend it with someone who makes you laugh every day. My parents' relationship was like this. When I met my current partner, I told him I would never get married because I don't see the point in being stuck in an argument for the rest of my life. His response was, okay, well, if we communicate, I don't see why we would be always arguing. I didn't get it and didn't want to get into it. One day we were communicating and the conversation was intense. Not even arguing, raised voices. And he said, let's take a break from this. I'm feeling frustrated, and I just sat there dumbfounded like, what? You aren't gonna yell at me?